Our first guest is Colleen Higgins. Colleen Higgins is a pharmacist, and she's an expert on medical marijuana. So, Colleen, come on in my basement. Hi there, Colleen.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So, why are you an expert on medical marijuana?
Good question. I guess I'm an expert as much as the next guy, probably because I wrote a book, The Cannabis Prescription. I wrote a book last year, which I published. Basically, I've been working in medical cannabis dispensaries here in Connecticut. We have a medical program. We just did get the recreational legalized, or adult use. I think they're saying adult use these days. But for now, we've had the medical program since 2014. So I have counseled many patients. And after a certain amount of time, I realized that there was a gap between patients understanding cannabis and the products that we have. So I decided to write the book as a bridge so medical patients could understand it. You know, a lot of people think marijuana is just to get high, but when you're treating it as a medicine and a drug for patients, they get really lost and overwhelmed. So I ended up writing my book, which has over 250 studies. A lot of people think there aren't studies on cannabis. There's a lot. So I put them in there as well. And I guess that would qualify me as an expert at this point.
All right. So you're mainly aiming towards the patients, but what about the doctors? Are the doctors aware of the benefits of marijuana?
Great question. I'm actually developing a training course now. Over the time that I've worked in these dispensaries, I've noticed how the healthcare experts have, unfortunately, because cannabis is a Schedule I drug, it's federally illegal, and therefore it's not taught in schools. It's not taught in pharmacy schools and medical schools. So our healthcare experts are just undereducated on the subject, and that will lead to them not understanding how their patients are using the medication. So I'm developing a training program for both employees of the dispensary to learn how to communicate to medical cannabis patients, and as well for the healthcare practitioners, so they have an understanding of how the dispensary works, how patients choose their products, and how they start to use it as a medicine.
Okay, so how many states is medical marijuana legal or available?
I think right now 36. But it's changing every day. You know, this is rapidly growing. All we're waiting for is the federal government to reschedule it to a legal status. So, you know, we don't have to deal with this kind of tiptoeing around all the time, and we can actually have it fully legalized at that point.
Well, you know, the old white guys have figured out how to make money on it. You know, yeah. If you see John Boehner now, sure, smoke pot.
They're already in there. They're already in there. They've already bought out. I did not realize that most of the dispensaries that are in the United States at this point are under the top 5 cannabis companies. You know, there's only 5. You know, a lot of white guys who have a lot of money and go in and pluck the licenses out. So it's already become very much a corporation type of an environment, which is unfortunate. So they need even more help. They don't know. They're just interested in grabbing the licenses and buying up them. But my concern is for the patients. This is patients that come in who are sick, who are in pain, who are often seniors, who have been through so much medication and so many doctors and are confused. And we have to remember that's why we're here. So I want them to understand it. If they use too much THC, they're going to be uncomfortable in a big way. And we want to avoid that. We want them to learn how to use these products effectively, comfortably. So that's my concern. You know, that somebody else with a lot of money can worry about, you know, buying up all the licenses. That's not going to be me.
So in Vermont, we've had medical marijuana for a while now. And next year, there's going to be dispensaries for public sale. And they've been bought up by, I believe, companies from Canada who have come in and done that. Yeah. So, all right. Let's say I'm not feeling well and I can go to a regular dispensary to get my marijuana. Can I self-treat? Is that advisable?
Sure. As long as you don't take too much. See, that's the key with cannabis is you can easily take too much. I would say the edibles are kind of the most popular. You know, somebody takes a gummy, they think it's benign. How bad can a gummy be? So they take one and then a half hour later they go, oh, that's not working. I should probably take another one. And that's the first mistake. It takes a little over an hour for it to start working. And if you double dose, then in 2 hours, you're going to be regretting it. and you're just going to say, I feel like I want to die and this is horrible and I made a mistake and that whole thing. So if we can avoid that, the same thing with smoking. I did not realize when I was first starting to take care of patients that you have to tell them to take one puff. I had a 76-year-old lady. She was lovely. She was a former smoker. So she thought that joint we sent her home with was a perfect cigarette. She smoked the whole thing. And, and she goes, I just didn't prefer it, which I couldn't believe. Another gentleman, same thing. He was a smoker. He thought you were supposed to smoke the whole thing, and he ended up throwing up and falling over and the whole mess. And so, one puff is to start with 2 to 3 seconds long. Keep the dose low. Take it very, very slow. Also, something other people don't realize is if you have a product that mixes CBD and THC together, it tends to be more mild. It doesn't have as much of the psychedelic effect. So a lot of people actually really like a blend of close to equal amounts of THC and CBD. It's just a more mild effect that a lot of first-time users tend to find a little bit easier to use.
I was out in Denver several years ago, and I went to a dispensary because I was curious, and I thought it'd be very professional. They, one at a time we were let in there, and we had our own person who would take care of us, and it was very asked specific questions, what we were looking for, what we wanted to avoid, and I really thought it was, I really felt comfortable with what I was buying from them because of their knowledge and the way they presented things.
Yeah, I've been into some great places in Colorado as well. Fantastic. I left a really big, I won't say the name of it, but a really big dispensary. There were several locations throughout Colorado. Denver, I actually went to as well. And when I bought some vapes that of oil, and you use it on a battery, and proceeded to go home and immediately burn them out within the first 3 minutes because nobody had told me that you need to use it on a lower battery temperature or you're going to burn out your vape and break it. So those little things just got under my skin, and I thought, we can do so much better with this program. We can really bring it up to a professional level. We can answer those questions that people need before they even answer them, before they even ask them. So little things like that, if we can educate the patient, I think it'll go a long way for the program itself.
So if you had your way, what would you see the future of medical marijuana? What would happen?
For recreational, I would say go at it. Have a great time. Keep your doses low. I hear people that, they take a candy bar home of 50 or 100 milligrams. And they're like, I'm going to take the whole thing. It just is silly. And it's you're asking for trouble at that point. But as a pharmacist, I've seen people abuse drugs again and again. So that's not really a problem. I would like to see patients that need it. Specifically, our senior patients, once they have their disease state escalates, so their pain escalates, or their Parkinson's escalates, or their, something escalates. A lot of times the pharma drugs that are available to them, they can't take anymore. They're contraindicated. So cannabis is a perfect medication for our senior patients, but if they're not instructed on how to use it, oftentimes they just won't use it at all and they'll just continue to live in pain. So I really hope that we keep the medical providers educated and we can educate our patients so they feel safe and comfortable. And that's kind of my dream, is that the medical patients, the recreational side will take care of itself. I'm sure it'll make plenty of money. People have a good time. The medical patients, I just hope that they're taken care of and we can have providers that really understand the drug for them.
So are you getting any pushback from big pharma or any medical people?
Not yet, but you never know. They're of course behind the scenes, I'm sure, trying to get into the industry. I have no doubt. I am, my book, I am unable to advertise it on Amazon because it says I'm promoting cannabis. So when you're in the cannabis industry, I actually had an account. I had a 401k account. Well, that was at Fidelity. When I was working at the dispensaries, I was asked not to work with Fidelity anymore because I was a cannabis employee. So I'm just hoping we get it really by being in the industry, we have limitations. So I really would like it to be rescheduled. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Enough of these games that we play, it's enough. Let's just reschedule the drug. We can allow banking, we can allow all kinds of things, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. And people that have worked all their life, they don't have to worry about it anymore. It's just it's enough. We've had enough.
How many states is marijuana the number one cash crop that just goes, You know,
Yeah.
I know Vermont. It's in Vermont. It is.
Vermont,
I always say
Colorado,
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida is massive. They have a massive, Arizona has also gotten very, very big. Washington
West Virginia. Oh
West
yeah, all of
Virginia,
them.
they're growing it everywhere, except Mississippi, where they have the government state. So, and the products are really fantastic. That's the other thing. I actually listened to a podcast on Maine yesterday, and Maine has kept the big guys out. They don't want the big corporations coming and buying up all the licenses. They've kept it in a more boutique type of cannabis, and they feel they have the best cannabis in the entire country because it's grown by people that really want to grow it and really have an artisan taste for it. With these big companies growing in big buildings, you lose something there. So I hope there's a lot of different levels within the industry, and it all doesn't get bought up by all these rich white guys. I really hope that does happen.
You and me both. Well, Colleen, thank you so much for coming on tonight and enlightening us about the medical marijuana. Thank you. Wait. I got one more question. COVID, do you see it helping anything with the COVID patients?
I had a friend who is a grower in Rhode Island. So they're allowed to grow plants for themselves and for patients. And she was using the oils, which means she was putting them under her tongue several times a day. And she said it helped her because remember, COVID is a disease of massive inflammation. You have massive inflammation of the lungs, massive inflammation of the body, of the nerves. And so and cannabis is an anti-inflammatory. So she was using the oils throughout COVID, and she said it helped her symptoms tremendously.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Colleen. Hope to hear more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, educational tonight, aren't we? All right. Thanks for watching. We love our fans, but you know who we love more? Our subscribers. Yes. So why don't you go right now and push that subscribe button? Then you'll know when we release our new videos, and we release new ones every week. Yes, and while you're at it, leave a comment. And you know what? One of my overworked interns just might respond to you. Oh, what the heck. If I'm bored, I might even write back to you. Wouldn't that be great? And while you're at it, tell all your friends to watch Amber Live every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Thank you.